Welcome to the Seriously podcast. I'm your host, Annalise Gann. Now let's get into it. Welcome to the Seriously podcast, where we make light of serious conversations with really interesting people. Lyndall Grace came onto our screens when she appeared on Married at First Sight Season 10. Her on-screen romance with MAFS husband Cameron didn't work out, but Lyndall has gone on to live her best life, which, if you follow her on Insta, involves attending VIP events, rollerblading, and hitting up Perth's best beaches. If you're big on the reality TV scene, you'll know that the star has had a lot going on lately, but that's her truth and her story to tell. So here she is, everyone, the beautiful Lyndall Grace. Lyndall Grace, welcome to Seriously.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. I'm so excited that you're finally here.
I know.
Now, we've met at events.
Yes.
But I recently messaged you because not only are you in the public eye and very famous, but we are going through something very similar right now.
Yeah, big time.
We're both going through relationship breakups. Can I ask, like woman to woman, how are you doing?
Oh God, it's hard. Like today, I felt like was a really good day, but like you asked me 2 days ago, and I was like couldn't get out of bed. Like cried on the way to work, cried after work. Like it's hard. Like I feel like I have days where I'm amazing, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be okay, and then I have days where I'm like, I am never going to find somebody that loves me the way that I need to be loved. And like, that's hard. That's like a hard weight to be like, oh yeah, that's fine, you know?
Oh, but it's not true. You definitely will.
I know. I mean, I hope so. I think I spent a lot of my like childhood or like growing up thinking that I was never going to be married. And so I didn't like set my sights on it. And now it's like, I finally can, like, I feel like I am going to find that person. I am going to find my forever person. But then it's like, I also feel like I'm just starting to figure out what I'm doing with it all and like what I want for that. So it's, I don't know, it's hard to navigate.
Yeah, so you're navigating your type, what you want. Like, can I ask in regards to your recent relationship breakdown, what were the things that were like, you know, the reason for the split?
I mean, I think there's like a few reasons. I think that by the end, like we were traveling together and things were really rough and everything feels so much more intense when you're away from everything. I think that like if I look at the sum of all of my parts and the sum of all of his parts, like we're both really beautiful people with a lot to offer. But I think it was just exacerbating like these really big, how do you describe it? Like I feel like we have these like really deep cut issues from, you know, our past or like childhood or past relationships and things. And for whatever reason, like we were just bringing that up again for each other. And then it was like butting heads because we had different expectations and different like approaches on things. And even like in conflict resolution, we both wanted to resolve conflict and we would both often come to the same conclusion. But it was like while we were in the conflict, he would like, he's a reactor, right? Like he reacts immediately. And I'm someone that like the second that something big happens, I'm like, and I shut down. And then I just like, I need to go away for a minute and calm and then like think about how I actually feel, not just like act out of rage or out of like being really upset. So I think it was just like this massive like exacerbation of all of these issues that just kept coming up. And then coming home, it was just like we couldn't just forget about all this stuff that had happened, and working through that was hard. So, yeah, I think so. He did leave me, and like I was absolutely devastated.
So he ended the relationship.
Yeah, yeah, and I was absolutely devastated, and I was shocked that he came to that conclusion so quickly.
Yeah.
But like, I'm never going to beg someone to stay if they don't want to be with me. And I feel like saying to someone that you don't want to be with them is a really big deal. So I'm not going to be like, have you thought it through? I just kind of like accepted it. And yeah, so like, look, we're still like, we went no contact for a couple of weeks. We're back in contact now. And we are like trying to get to a place where we at least understand each other so that we can move forward with like some kind of respect and fondness of what we had, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I don't know though. Breakups suck. It's just like, it's so complicated and there's never a right answer. It's like, should you go back to your ex? Should you like try again? Should you just like go straight onto the dating apps? Like how long is an appropriate time before you do that? Or like, you know, should you be putting yourself out there before you're ready to push yourself, or should you like really, really close off. I think it's different for everybody in every situation. So it's just like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Is there any hope for reconciliation between the two of you?
I think so. Yeah.
Ooh.
Like,
well, that's a positive.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're both good people, and whether or not that reconciliation ends up with us being together is a different question. But like, there's definitely reconciliation there for the care that we have for each other. Like, I think that even though things are really complex and really intense, I absolutely, like, when I strip away all of the situations and the semantics of it, it's like I still feel like a lot of love for him, and I don't want him to be in any pain, and certainly not because of me. And so it's like, I don't know. I think if that's like our goal mutually, then of course we're going to be reconciled, and of course we're going to be on good terms again. Like, we have a lot of mutual friends and things as well. So I'd love to get to a point where we're just like in each other's lives in some capacity. Obviously, like, we're probably not going to be best friends, but still in each other's lives, but still respectful, and hopefully.
That's good. I feel like that's where me and my ex are at now, because we split 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, right.
And people are like, do you hate each other? I'm like, no. Like, I just want to be amicable.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be a big dramatic, like, we hate each other. Like, I just want to be adult now.
Yeah.
I've done the whole dramatic breakup in my early 20s. Never ends well.
Oh my God. I feel like it's one of those things, right, where like I have never been a complex breakup girly. Like,
oh, really?
I've never like gone through this massive, well, maybe in high school when I was like 15 or something, but I've never like gone out drunk and called them crying and like begged anyone to take me back, or like been
You're just
like
describing me.
It's so weird because now I am like that, and I'm like, what are you doing, babe? Get it together.
Nah, babe, that's normal. That's so normal.
Oh God, well, I hope so. Yeah, when friends have done it, I've always been like, you know, you're just going to keep going back to them until you learn. Like, you're either going to keep going back until something good happens, or you're going to keep going back till something bad enough happens that you go like, I'm good, wiping my hands. I don't know. It's life, dude. It's messy.
It is messy.
Just go back to your ex. Why not? Try it.
Well, man,
unless
my
they're
ex,
really, really bad, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. Me and my ex got back together.
Really?
Yeah, not now.
Yeah,
No,
right.
prior.
The like crazy messy one that you were talking about in your 20s? Or
No, the recent good one.
Right.
Yeah, we split for 3 months, then we got back again.
Right.
Yeah, so it can happen.
Yeah.
Anyway, so thank you for being so open and honest about that, because I know it's like very raw and vulnerable at the moment. So
yeah,
thanks.
Yes, absolutely. And like the public discourse about it has just been like,
oh, and you know what? Good on you for posting that story to like set the record straight, because were you getting so many messages? Did you get sick of it? Like,
I was getting, okay, but this is the thing, like the entire time that Jordan and I were dating, I was getting messages being like, where's your mans? Anytime I would post without him, and I'm like, oh my God, guys, come on, like, seriously?
Is that work?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Or like, whatever it might be, but he, I was getting messages all the time about stuff like that, and so when we did break up, it was kind of normal at first, and then like I mean, look, I have followers on TikTok, right? But not many of my TikToks actually go viral or anything. And I posted like a silly thing that I joked with one of my girlfriends about, being like, when your boyfriend dumps you, but at least there's a Taylor Swift album coming out in 2 weeks. That. Yeah, that's funny, right? It's funny.
It is funny. It was like, it went a bit viral though,
everyone was a bit like, is she okay?
Even I saw that.
I was like, no, but it's funny. Just say it's funny.
It's funny. I can. Oh
God!
100%
And that just
confirm.
that just spiraled out of control, and then it was like,
you had to do an answer to the public, really. Right. Like, you had to explain. Yeah.
Yeah, and like it wasn't even so much that the TikTok went crazy; it's that like somebody whose name I won't mention, who's an asshole, came out and was like, "Oh, she's part of the unmarriables now, and nobody's ever going to love her." And I was like, I was already thinking that. You can't hurt me. Like,
we won't mention who that is.
No, but
yes,
that was rough. That like. Yeah. The majority of people found out about my relationship breakdown through someone who was painting it in this super awful light. And then like getting all the questions around that and like, when are you going to respond? And I'm like, I don't want to respond to that idiot. Like, I really like.
No, he doesn't deserve any more airtime.
Oh my God.
I can't believe he got so much in the first place.
I know. Yeah, try living in the same building as him for 3 months.
Well, talking about that, you became famous and
somewhat
really loved from the show Married at First Sight Australia. For some of your fans listening at home, that's how they know you and came to love you.
Yeah.
Can you like talk me a bit about, you know, your experience on MAFS? Like, was it a good experience? Is it what you expected?
I think when like people ask me that in public, like I'm not going to go through the nitty-gritty of everything that happened, but the general consensus is like I had such an amazing like once in a lifetime experience doing it, but my partner was awful. Like living day in day out with someone that just like straight up didn't really like me that much. Like it like
how you're so likable.
Thank you. I think so, but oh god, sorry, I think so. I think that just like chips away at your confidence after a while. And so it wasn't really until like towards the end where we were able to interact with the others a bit more that I started being like, oh, this is who I am when I'm happy. And this is who I am when I'm like around people that see who I am and want to be around me. And who I've been around my partner isn't that. But because you're doing 24/7 and it's like you've got the on-camera version of him and an off-camera version of him and it's so confusing trying to navigate it all that like I think that when I came home, it was just like this massive like release of like, oh my God, I can just be again. Like I don't have to worry about pissing somebody off or like hurting their feelings or saying the wrong thing because they don't understand like where I'm coming from. I can just be myself. So it was like, I would say now like I've recovered from it and it was definitely worth doing for the people that I've met and the opportunities that I've had. Like I never in my wildest dreams could imagine like just the grandeur of like being on something like that and like the difference that I've been able to make and the work that I've been able to do has been fantastic. So like now it's worth it, but there were definitely times where I was like, that was the hardest thing I've ever probably went through. Yeah. And that's a big thing. Like I've been through some stuff. So,
of course.
yeah.
Did you ever like him?
I did. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like, I don't know, like for a while there, I was like a bit embarrassed to say that because it seems so obvious to everybody, like watching it back.
Yeah.
But then when I think about like the actual facts of our relationship and how it kind of went, like we were so good at the start and things started to get a little bit messy when we were arguing. And like, I don't know if anyone remembers Family Day, but like we had a big blow up around his mum and like his mum calling me insecure and whatever. And like that was probably our biggest fight. And then the next week, I think, was retreat. And on retreat, I would happily say that we were one of the strongest couples there because it was like we were given this freedom to just roam around this house and do whatever we wanted. And Cam got to be outdoors, which he loved. And he would like come and check on me. Like we were sleeping together. We were cuddling every night. Like everything was good. And I was like, oh, this is who we are. Yeah. This is the person that I met at the start. And it's just that, you know, he is really struggling with being in the city. And so I think that kind of carried me through the rest of it. And so everyone watching is like, what the hell? Like he doesn't like her. Why is she still with him? It's like we had really beautiful moments as well.
Which they didn't show.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. There was too much drama going on at retreat, I feel like. Yeah, they definitely missed like quite big milestone things, I think, for us. Like talking about what was going to happen after the experiment. Like he invited me to his Christmas party.
Did he?
In the NT and was like, yeah, come along. Like it's this whole like long weekend thing and we're all going to stay at this hotel. Like, you know, like there were things that showed me that he was into me. So
when someone says that as a woman, you think, oh yeah, we're set.
Yeah, like, Christmas parties are a big deal.
They actually are.
Yeah, like you're introducing me to your co-workers.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Okay, it's like official in front of a group of people that you spend every day with.
Yeah, like know? It's the biggest, like things like that are big deals. Yeah. So I would feel like I'm set.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like,
so
I think
confusing.
Yeah, I think, and then like watching it back, I was like, maybe I was stupid and I didn't see it. But like, then I think about like my actual experience. I'm like, no, like I was good.
Yeah. So all up, amazing, but hard.
I would say if you're going to do it, like my biggest advice is like, just look yourself in the mirror and understand what your flaws are because they really could be mirrored back to you in like filming and whatever. Like, I went in and I was like, the only thing I can control is whether or not I behave in a way that I'm proud of. So if I'm going to get angry, I'm going to do it in a way that I can stand behind. Like I can have, like, you know, I might be angry, but I'm going to think clearly and I'm going to be articulate. I'm going to be fair. And I'm never going to be nasty or insult someone or like swear in their face, like things like that. I think it's actually not, I don't know. I think that if you really are prepared to do something like that in the way that you should be prepared to do something like that, like that's the kind of stuff that you have to think about is really get into the nitty gritty of who you are at your worst and be prepared to like manage that as best you can. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. But obviously not everybody does that because every year we see people fall apart, like just completely lose themselves in the chaos and drama and the pressure. So I don't even know how they get that out of people. But
Did you watch this year's?
I'd say I watched about half of it. I had
Okay.
like a bunch of interviews about halfway through the season airing, and so I kept up to date. I don't know. I feel like maybe because I hadn't watched a whole every single episode season before my own, that maybe I feel like it wasn't as like intense.
A lot
But
of
I
people
wasn't
said that this
invested.
year.
I just wasn't invested in anyone.
Yeah.
Like that, I loved Lucinda, but
Yep.
apart from that, I'm not really like I would like viscerally come out and be like, this person deserved better, or like I want to fight for this person. I just felt like, what the hell is going on the whole time? I don't know. It just felt a bit messy.
That's a common theme though.
Yeah.
A lot of people have said the same thing.
Right.
Not sure why.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what makes it more messy, but yeah.
Now, your co-star, Bronte Schofield,
Yes.
she's been in the studio a few times, and her sister, Kira.
Yeah. I love them.
Who were you closest with on the show?
Oh, that's such a funny question. I feel like if you ask me who I see the most,
Yeah.
Jesse. 100%.
Oh,
I'm seeing him tomorrow.
Jesse.
He's coming to the rodeo with me and my housemate.
He's nice, yeah.
I absolutely love that boy, and he can be so misunderstood. Or, you know, he can make his own mistakes, but he has been such a wonderful friend to me. Like, I feel like we just have this really special understanding of each other from way back when we were in the experiment even. And obviously he lives in Perth, which is great. I'd say in terms of like friendship and like my soul seers, the people that see me like to my core, Sandy, absolutely number one. Bronte, absolutely. Like we clicked from the moment we met, just immediately like, oh my God. It was like, she asked me why are you doing MAFS? And I went, well, you're from Perth. You know what the dating pool is like there. It's tiny.
God, it's pretty shocking.
It's not good. And so we just immediately got along, and like, I felt like I just saw what she was going through when other people really didn't. And so that really bonded us. And then Claire as well, like, Claire went through a lot in that experiment that people don't see. Like I wouldn't say she had the hardest time or that she was particularly traumatized from any of it, but like she had her own stuff that like, you know, and she did a lot of brave things as well that I can absolutely commend her for. And she's someone that has absolutely been a beautiful friend and backed me time and time again. So that's probably like who I'm the closest with. I'd say I'm still pretty good friends with most of the cast though. Like if like it's either like I'm friendly enough that I would say hi and give them a hug absolutely anytime I saw them, or they're blocked.
I was going to say, I'm never seeing one person ever again.
Yeah.
Now, switching lanes a bit, I want to make it a little bit more personal. You were diagnosed with cystic fibrosis at 3 weeks old, which is a chronic condition that affects the lung tissue. Can you talk to me a bit about that and your experience?
Yeah. I think like a lot of people see it as this like really heavy thing that I had to put up with my whole life, but I think definitely as a child, like I was very healthy for having CF, and I think it was also something that like I just kind of grew up doing, so I didn't know any different. I would say that like the last few years have been such a change in my life approach. So I used to make a lot of decisions based on the idea that I was only going to be around, you know, into my early 30s, and just wanted to experience everything I could experience and have the most like comfortable, secure life I could in order to just be happy and be able to say yes and enjoy the things that I enjoyed. But then this new medication comes out and it's like, you know, the possibilities are endless. Like you could live a perfectly normal lifespan. And the first feeling is this wave of like, oh my God, this is a miracle. And it is. It absolutely is a miracle. It changed every part of every day for me. And like coughing, not needing to clear my throat, like the way that I sleep, like,
Wow.
like everything just got so much easier and better and less painful. But then after that kind of subsides, and I think as well, like doing MAFS when I did was like a big deal because I was still processing a lot of it and realizing this like existential dread of like, well, I've set my whole life up to just have it finish here.
Oh my God.
And now it's like, now you've got like 40 more years that you have to keep existing for. And like, what does that look like? And are you doing something that you could do for 40 years? And like, who do you want by your side through that 40 years? And yeah, it's like, it was almost like I got hit with a ton of bricks of expectation that I'd never put on myself before. Like I expected to be where everybody else my age was. or where everybody else, like, you know, in inverted commas, where I think it seems everybody else is, but they're probably not. They're also figuring it out. But yeah, it was like this like ton of bricks. Oh my God, what have I done? Like, I didn't prepare for any of this. And what does that look like? And I'm already a failure. Like, I felt like I'd already missed my chance to have all of those things. So it was a big like high and then a massive low of like, I don't even know what this existence looks like for me anymore. Like, what am I supposed to do with all of this time? So I think trying to navigate what happened with MAFS and all of my like feelings around that, as well as factoring in that kind of existential dread, like was a lot. But essentially, like I've kind of come to the end of it and been like, I want to be exactly the way I was before, like where I was just living my life and doing what made me happy and like following, I guess like, it's going to sound lame, but following my heart and just like doing things that made me happy day to day. And that will lead to really beautiful things anyway, you know, like I don't need to be a CEO and have the biggest house and, you know, get married tomorrow and have a dog. Like it's, you know, I can just do what I'm doing and those things will come if they're supposed to. And if they're not supposed to, then that's okay. It's not going to affect the fact that I have a roof over my head or my health, you know?
I love that.
Yeah.
Can I ask in terms of the medication perspective, so like what does your day look like? If you take all your meds, are you just like feeling normal?
Yeah.
Like, wow. So before you weren't?
No.
Like you had all the symptoms?
Yeah. It was like especially like the 2 years before the medication came out, like my lung function went from 90 to 60.
Babe.
So losing that much lung function in 2 years and nobody could tell me why. I didn't have a new infection. I wasn't, you know, exposing myself to anything new. It was just like, they just said like, this is just what happens with people with CF. They hit an age where their lung function starts to decline and there's nothing anyone can do about it.
Wow.
And so then like that was hard because I'm playing sport and I'm singing and I'm doing all these things and slowly I'm losing my vocal range and I need to take time off the court because I can't keep up the way I used to. So it was like all these little things that were like slowly getting worse and worse. And also dealing with all of the emotion of like, okay, this is it. Like, what does that look like?
That's
what am I going to go through?
Yeah.
And then like literally the day I took this med, like it was like, they call it the purge. And it's like 3 to 4 days of coughing up all this stuff that has been down in your lungs for so long. Like oh my God, like it was disgusting. It was really gross, but it was just like, where is this all coming from? How's that been down there for so long? And then after the purge, it's like all these things start happening. I found that when I would laugh or when I would get excited and I would like say something out of excitement, it would come out so much louder because I like didn't have to try as hard to get the air out to make my voice project. So it was like I would laugh and I would be like, oh my God, sorry, like that's so loud because it just like, you know,
you weren't used to it.
Yeah. And I'd always had to put in so much more effort to get that. And then it was all of a sudden like, oh, your voice is getting a bit loud, like chill out. Or like having to clear my throat every time I would speak, like before every sentence would be like, and then I would be able to talk normally. But now it's like, you know, I could have a nap for 3 hours and I still don't need to clear my throat when I wake up. Like just like even small things like that where I didn't even really notice that was happening within my body. As they started to fade away, I was like, oh, I'm doing okay. Like,
you're really impressive because I would never look at you. Like, I know it's obviously a invisible illness or like chronic condition, but I'd never look at you because you're so active and go, oh, you know, maybe she has like do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that became very...
You look so healthy.
Thank you.
Well, you are.
I am now, yeah.
Yes, queen.
I think that was a big thing for me in COVID is that people didn't realise how under threat I actually was and how vulnerable I was. Like I was told, like, do not get it.
Holy shit.
Do not get
that would have
COVID.
been scary.
Oh, yeah. That was like 3 months.
What did you do? Just live in your house?
Yeah, I just isolated completely. I was living with my family, but like I wasn't allowed to use the kitchen or come out or like I moved back from Brisbane when the first case was found in Australia. And I just got on a plane that day. I didn't even tell my work. I was like, I'm going. Like, I was so anxious that I was going to, you know, pass away or someone I knew was going to pass away and got straight on a plane. And it was like I came home and I couldn't even hug my mum because it was just like I can't risk that. Like I was convinced, like, if I get COVID, I'm dying. Like, there's no other option. And so it was like I came home after being away for a year. I couldn't see my friends. I couldn't see my family, even though they were right there. So it was like just
That's
isolation.
so sad.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you've done so well. It's so good
Yeah.
the meds are working. You're happy,
Oh,
you're healthy.
yeah.
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. It was like there was just such a hard period, and then like things started to get better and better and better. Like it was almost like, I don't know, what's that saying where it's like things get hard, like they get worse before they get better? Mm-hmm. It was like that, but
true.
to the extreme.
It's like both of us right now.
Yeah. Exactly. I am getting so hot after this.
Like, I'm in the gym every night.
Yes. I know, like, I got my hair done.
Got my shakes. Got my protein shakes.
Oh, I love it.
I read somewhere that you're an accountant.
Right, yeah.
Is that true? And are you still working in accountancy?
I used to be an accountant. So
Okay, cool. So you're hot, you're an accountant, and you're successful, and you're famous. Anything else?
Oh, God. I studied accounting all through school and then at uni.
Wow, so you've got your degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I worked in accounting for like 6 years altogether. Mm-hmm. And then after my first job, my first grad job, I was like, oh my God, this is too much. And I quit and I went and worked at a cafe for 8 months.
Yeah.
And then I went back and I worked for another like year and a half, 2 years. And then I got MAFS. And it was like, oh, okay, well, I'm quitting my job. I'm going. And I went, and then as soon as I got back from filming, I worked in a cafe again for 3 months. And I always thought I wanted to open my own cafe. That's like the dream. But I was like, oh, but you know, I don't even know what that's like. And everyone tells me hospo's so bad and blah, blah, blah. I love people. I have never, ever, ever hated a hospo job that I've had, ever.
Yeah, you either love it or you hate it.
Yeah.
So
and I know that
great.
that's not everyone's experience, but I love just chatting to people, giving them a nice coffee, like whatever. So now it's like I was just kind of doing content stuff for about 6 months there, like enjoying my summer, traveling. And now I'm a cafe manager at a new cafe in West Perth.
Congrats.
Thank you. I love it.
That is so good. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Can you open a cafe?
I absolutely.
It would be so
I
cool.
absolutely will one day. Yeah.
Oh, that would be awesome. So in terms of life now, what does your life look like for 2024? Have you got any plans?
I mean, I think I made all my plans last year and now they've kind of been blown up. So I think for 2024, I want to focus on my work. I am going to get back into streaming. And I don't know if you know this, but I do like gaming, streaming.
I do.
Yes. Yeah. So I love that. I'm going to make the new season of MAFS in The Sims and just like watch them all go through survival challenges.
Wow. That sounds really like techie and AI and like.
Yeah, it took me a while to set up and get my head around all of it, but it's been so much fun. Like, and the community that watches it are so lovely. Like, we have like a group chat, like all of us.
So you have like a fan base on there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So I want to get back into that.
Yep.
But otherwise, like, I just am ready to chill out. It's been a big couple years. Like, I just want to get back to what I feel is the most me. Like, I want to be playing hockey again. Like, I went back down to hockey for the first time in 9 months on Wednesday.
I saw that.
Yeah. And
Congrats.
like, oh, it felt so good. It felt like I was coming home to just like be back with my community and see my people and play a sport I've been playing for almost 10 years was just the best. So I just want to get back to like, I almost want to try and find the person I was before MAFS and be like, she's still in there and she can still be here. It just because everything else has changed doesn't mean that I have to change, you know?
I get that on another level. Yeah. Do you want kids?
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%. Like, I always kind of was like, oh, no, you're never going to be able to. But now I'm like, I just think it would be the most incredible experience to have kids. Like, imagine making a whole other human. And imagine what that would feel like to have a whole other human.
Beautiful and squishy and adorable.
Yes, exactly. And like probably really painful as well. But like that, like to have so much pain and struggle, but also still love them as much as you do. Like I don't think that you could ever replicate that kind of love in your life. Well, you probably could in other ways, but I don't know. I just think it would be the most incredible experience. Yeah. Do you want kids?
100%. Yeah. So
We'll
I'm on the dating apps now.
Right.
And they're just not for me.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on them? And do you think you'll date again soon?
I mean, specifically, I hate Tinder and I can't stand Bumble because I am not the type of person to reply in 24 hours. But I will say, I think Hinge is really good. I think it's like the prompts are really funny and like you can strike up strike up a conversation way easier on Hinge than any other dating app. I don't know. I don't think that I'm ready to date at all, like seriously. But I do feel like I'm a pretty social being, and I feel like getting back out into the community and meeting new people and getting back into it is going to help me, regardless if it ends in like something really serious, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like just like friends, like meeting people,
just like meeting other wholesome people that I get along with. You know, like I think a lot of people put so much pressure to find someone on a dating app. It's like, okay, the likelihood of you matching with someone that you like the look of, talking to them enough to get to a stage where you're like, I actually want to put in the effort and the time to meet this person in person, and then go on a million dates with them and then be like, oh, we're in love. Like the likelihood of that happening is very, very slim. So my approach is very chill.
That was me though.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
How'd you meet your ex?
Hinge.
Oh, so yeah, the likelihood is so slim. We're like living proof it can happen.
No, like I know that it works for dating, right? But like he was not the first person I matched with on Hinge. Like there were plenty of people,
true.
you know, and I think I'll tell you a funny story is that when I moved to Brisbane in 2019, I had been playing hockey for ages, and I was like, oh, that's how I made friends when I moved to Perth. I joined the hockey league. I didn't even know it existed. I just found it and whatever. And so when I went to Brisbane, I was like, I want to start my own one. And I did. And I used Tinder, and I put all my photos of me rollerblading, and the caption was, don't talk to me unless you want to be a mighty duck. And so I matched with all these people and invited them down. And it was like after like 3 months, you could see a full web of all of the people and their connections, because I'd match with someone, they'd come down, they'd think it was funny what I was doing, being like, hey, come and join. And then they would match with people and invite them down to come down and try the sport. And then they would invite people. Oh my God. I know. It worked so well. Like,
you're like the Mighty Ducks have a recruitment team, and that's me.
Yeah, literally. And then I split them all into 8 teams, and we had a league, and it was amazing. Like,
do you know what's funny? Me and my roommate were like, okay, we're going to make a mixed netball team the other night. And she was doing the same fucking thing. And I was like, Mia, like we can't recruit a mixed netball team on Tinder.
Yes, you can.
Well, we are now.
Okay, look, it is so
Anyone
successful.
wants to join? That's hilarious.
Honestly, it works. Like Tinder has many uses. Dating people is not one of them.
You crack me off. Oh my God. Oh my God. Well, Lyndall, you've been an amazing guest. I want to ask one more question. If you could give one piece of advice to anyone listening, what would it be?
Oh, I think my one piece of advice is that it was something that I heard when MAFS was airing, and it's, if you know who you are, no one can use it against you.
Ooh.
Yeah. So you just have to be really sure of who you are and really explore that. And I think that from there comes so much confidence and so much love. So I don't know. It's something that really, really helped me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you for being so transparent and honest today.
No, absolutely. Thanks for having me. It's been great.
Anytime, girl. Thanks, guys, for tuning into Seriously this week. We'll catch you next week for another guest. Bye.
Bye.